Good morning, horse race enthusiasts. This is John. This is Sunday, the 7th day after the Kentucky Derby. What a day yesterday. Hope everyone had a chance to sort of take some time out of the broadcast yesterday and watch the races, because it was a great day of races. Just to recap the Kentucky Derby itself, if you looked at some of the broadcasts or the clips that we put out over the course of the week, you were familiar with a lot of the names. We had a scratch of the favorite Forte in the morning yesterday. Had a bruise in one of his feet, and looked like, in abundance of caution, the vets scratched him. Right? I know it's a bit controversial, but I'll come back to it in a bit, but I actually think overall it's positive news, except for those connections, obviously, but happy to sort of go through that in a little more detail. What I wanted to talk about is just a quick recap. So Mage, number 8, Mage came in first. Number 3 Phils, was second. 14 Angel of Empire was third, and 11 Disarm, whom I didn't give enough credit. Disarm looked like a solid horse, and it's going to be a player in the class for the rest of the year, and a name that you're going to hear a lot of, in my estimation. So I think we spoke pretty significantly about Mage, about 3 Phils, and about Angel of Empire. Now, in my own personal betting, I keyed around number 4 Confidence Game, and I'm not at all disappointed with, obviously I would have liked to have won. However, I'm not disappointed in what we saw yesterday out of Confidence Game. I think he broke really well. He used his tactical speed to get out ahead of, in a good, clean, clear position on the rail, which by all accounts is fast, and a hole opened up for him right down the stretch, and he could have been in the final throws. And to me, it looked like he didn't have the endurance. So I think the layoff, the layoff was impacted him there. And I think what we're going to see from Confidence Game is likely get into, assuming came out of the race okay, likely be in the Preakness. I think his tactical speed is going to favor him. A number of horses will be favored in it as well, but I think he's going to be positioned well if the connections decide to go ahead and get into the game. So get into the Preakness. So what that left us with is, I talked a little bit about the bets that I was going to do, and I did a win bet on Confidence Game, so that, I didn't get that, but I did play a try, and I did not a complete box, but actually turned out I did a box on Saturday that won, 50-cent box trifecta, but I also did a ticket on Friday at our local sort of OTB that included Forte. So, I left that ticket as it was, and it ended up being a winner. And then that's why I went in on Saturday and bet another ticket and used Derma, Sotogaki, and so he didn't factor. The Japanese horses didn't factor yesterday. So I thought overall it was a very good Kentucky Derby. Excited about the rest of the Triple Crown. I think with Mage, what we're looking at is a star, really. I mean, I came out of the Florida Derby thinking that Mage ran the best race. I know that Forte closed and beat him, but Forte at that point was a 3-time Grade 1 winner, and that was Mage's 3rd race. So, fast forward to the Kentucky Derby, Forte wasn't there. You can't do anything about that. But Mage showed that he has the staying power, and is a professional horse, and I'm really excited. The one question I have in my mind, and I don't know, I'm going to have to research this a little bit more, is the Tomlinson figure for the distance yesterday, again, was a mile and 2/8, right? So a mile and a quarter. 264. That's kind of low And and I'm just curious about that, and whether that's an accurate figure or not. You just think with his pedigree that would be a little bit better than that. And just to remind myself on the pedigree, Mage is good magic, right? Which is Curlin, right? We all know Curlin, and then out of a big brown mare. So like, why the low Thomason for the distance? They both seem to be active, certainly Kentucky Derby runners, and so I'm curious about that. So that 264, what does that mean? When and if it comes around to the Belmont, which is obviously the longest of the three races. So got into confidence game. We'll see what happens the rest of the year. Angel of Empire looks like a solid horse, and then Disarm as well. Now, we had some scratches, right? Forte, the most obvious. Practical Moves, Skinner. So some of these horses that scratched out, maybe they have some factor in the rest of the year. So that's good stuff. Now, the not so good stuff. During the racing day yesterday, 2 more horses suffered injuries and that were later euthanized. And I was grabbing a little dinner last night, and I was overhearing people talking about the Derby, and this really gets my goat a little bit in that these are serious injuries, and it really hurts. But it seems only one side of the story is being sort of broadcast, and I find it a little bit frustrating. And I also find that people don't really understand what's going on. I heard someone comment that, he hurt his leg, why do they have to kill the horse, and they use those words, right? In racing, we use the euphemism euthanize, right? Well, it really goes to like the fragile nature of these horses, and I think medical science can fix any of the breaks, and they can put screws in, and they can the horse may not run again, similar to the name's escaping me of the injury suffered to the favorite going into Epicenter, going into the Breeders' Cup, right? Got hurt. It was the type of injury. They have science, and they have all these studies, and they have statistics on their side that show some of these breaks are fixable. In Epicenter's case, they're able to sort of fix it, and the horse is able to survive sort of the recuperation. Because here's the issue is that they're very susceptible to hoof injuries, to other ancillary injuries. So if you fix that break, you can't necessarily, correct the issues that are going to come in down the line. And we go back to the case of Barbaro. At the time, they used all the science that was available, tried to fix that horse, woke him up, and he was in water, so he didn't support, didn't injure the leg as he tried to sort of, come out of the injury, right? So they had the full support of the water to hold him up. He didn't have to put weight on it. What happens with the horses is that if one leg is favored, the circulation of the other legs are impacted, and they're susceptible to other issues in the other legs, right? This is the issue. So, they know what they're doing. It's because they love the horses, because they know the road is unlikely to result in the horse being fixed for certain injuries to be better, and it's going to go through a lot of pain and suffering. They euthanize the horse. So no one likes to talk about that. But you know what? I feel like this industry needs to get ahead of these kind of things. I think we could look at Forte's injury, right, minor as it was, with abundance of caution. They decided to scratch. The vet scratched the horse, and I said, congrats to that horse. I mean, that vet like put his neck out on the line and said, no, we're not running this horse. And I speaking for the industry, I say thank you for that, because you don't know, is it just like you don't know if the horse is sick or whether there's an injury. You don't know what the significance of the industry. If they start to run a little bit different, they favor that leg. It causes a cascading effect of other injuries. So So I think he saved some embarrassment of the industry that was already pretty embarrassed. 2 other horses died, were euthanized. One was a fractured knee in the second race, Chloe's Dream. And then Freezing Point, race 8, was also euthanized. And so we don't know what those injuries, what was the cause of those injuries. What we learned out in Santa Anita a couple of years ago was there's something with the way the dirt was, the particles. They're going to do all these tests and see like what is causing these injuries. You know, none of it's acceptable, and I don't want to sound callous. It is part of the game, and you know, there's high highs and low lows in horse racing, and you know, let's hope that they find what the right answer is. I'm a little bit frustrated with the broadcast on NBC yesterday. I thought there was some very good stories. Obviously, the story around Javier winning his first Kentucky Derby was special. Cody's wish, winning again, and then discussing and showing his parents and Cody and his sister, I think was just, you know, tugged at your heartstrings. That's a beautiful moment. But you know, you see these positive stories, and then they just kind of give lip service to some of the injuries, saying, you know, they're going to look into it, and I know they will. But here's what I think should have happened. I think you have so many people watching during this time, and very few know that there is a move afoot to make horse racing safer. Not only did we have 2 top trainers, Baffert being one, Saffie Joseph being the other, that were suspended for this Kentucky Derby. Each had horses that were impacted by this. For medical, well, we don't know what Saffie Joseph is. We know that Baffert's was an overage in medicine. You know, that's a positive feature in my mind. And the other thing is that HISA itself, right, racetrack safety, anti-doping, and medication protocols, is on the frontiers. We're on the frontiers of this. So, like, you know, we have Lisa Lazarus, who is the CEO of the nonprofit organization, the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority, has, you know, been visible in the industry, but where was she yesterday, right? Why wasn't she part of a package for NBC yesterday? If this was football and this was a season where there was so many sort of concussions, you're going to tell me that NBC wouldn't have Goodell on and talking about this and the steps that NFL's taken, you know, training, Pop Warner leagues, how to tackle, new technology and scientific studies about, you know, lighter practices. You know, they would have gone through the whole thing. Where was horse racing? Where was HISA yesterday? This is like, why do we allow the bad news, such as it is, become worse because the public, like at my dinner yesterday where I overheard people talking, and it's like that's happening all across the country, and I'm a bit frustrated. I've sent a note to the authority. I sent a note to Jerry Bailey personally on Twitter. It's like I want to get out ahead of this, and I think that's what has to happen here, you know, and people need to know about this. So. At any rate, overall, very good Derby. Excited about these athletes. It's beautiful. Great story with Javier. Made a little money yesterday, so that's nice. And I really appreciate it. Hopefully, you know, those of you who are part of the channel, you know, use some of the horses that we had mentioned and talked about and had a good Derby yourselves. So thanks, horse racing enthusiasts. More to come. We'll be out. If you like these videos, right, and we like what we're trying to do here, I'm trying to get over 50 subscribers. I'm at 49 right now, and you know, give me one more subscription, get me to 50. All right, and you know, I'm trying to do good here, and I want to also you know, show the things that you want to see, and I want to talk about the game. So, you know, throw out some comments. If you disagree with what I have said, that's okay. You know, that's how I learn as well, right? This is we only learn when we're challenged. So I just wish everyone good luck in the racing. Hopefully you had a good day, and go ahead and send me the comments and like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.